Good morning, Year 6. It is Thursday, the 11th of June, and today we're finding fractions of an amount. So our first anchor question, complete the statements with less than, more than, or equal to these two questions. So we've got 54 and 80, but we need to find the fraction that we have. So we can start this side, so we can see 54, we've got split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 parts. So 54 divided by 9, you could work that out. So 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54 is 6. So one part is 6. So we've got 6 this side. And then 80 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 80 divided by 5. We know 10 times 5 is 50. 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80. So we have got 16. We've got 16 this side and 6 this side. So we can see that we need to use the more than sign this way. Here we have got 990 divided by 3. So 990 divided by 3 is 330. And that is just the one part that we need here. So 330 this side. And then 900 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, 900 divided by 10 is 90. So again, we can see that we need to use the more than sign here. Okay, moving on to our next question. Not going to do all of it. I'm just going to explain what you need to do. So match each calculation to the correct answer. So for each of these statements, you need to work out what the answer is. We'll be very careful, because remember you need to divide the denominator by what the total is. Okay, so you got the total here. So example 56 divided by 7, and you need to times the numerator. Okay, so you got the numerator here, 3. So you get whatever your answer is times by 3. And you follow that process for all of these. So 88 divided by 8 times by 7, 243 divided by 3 times by 2, and 459 divided by 9 times by 1. Today we're going to have a look at learning the White Rose Maths questions, and this will help you with your questions today.
Hello there, welcome back. Today we'll look at fractions of an amount, and we're going to start with a story today. So Tommy has got some sweets, and we can see the sweets on the screen here. And Tommy gives a third of his sweets to Eva. How many sweets does Eva get? Well, the sweets are kind of scattered all over the shop, so it might be easier if we pictured the sweets represented by counters. So one sweet is represented by one counter. And a third of them are given to Eva. So a third means split into 3 equal parts. And we want one of those 3 equal parts. So Eva would receive 5 of those sweets. So a third of 15 is 5. Calculations-wise, we might have thought about the 15 sweets divided into 3, because we want a third, which is one of 3 parts, which gave us the 5 sweets that Eva got. What about this story now? Tommy gives 1/5 of his sweets to Ron. How many sweets does Ron get? We've still got our 15 sweets. This time, we're going to give 1/5 of them. Can you visualise putting that into 5 equal parts? Perhaps you may have pictured it a little bit like this. And we can see that each part would have 3 sweets in it. Ron receives 1/5 of them. So Ron would receive 3 sweets. 1/5 of 15 is equal to 3. So our calculations this time, 15 sweets divided into 5 parts gives 3 sweets in each part. Here are 2 representations. What do you notice? What's the same, what's different about the 2 representations? One thing you may have noticed is that the wholes are the same, in that they have started off with 15 sweets. What's different is the amount of parts. So on the left, we've got 3 parts, and on the right, we have 5 parts. You may have thought about, well, 15 divided by 3 is 5, 15 divided by 5 is 3. That relationship we could use as well. What about using a bar model then? So we can see we've got 20 split into 2 parts. And half of 20 is 10. 2 parts because half is into 2 parts. But what about these? Pause the video, have a think for yourself first. How did you get on? We know our whole is 20. We want a quarter of that. And a quarter would be 4 equal parts. So 20 divided by 4 would be 5. Same whole, but this time 5 equal parts. 20 into 5 equal parts would be 4, and we want one of those 5 equal parts, which is 4. And again, from the last one, 10 equal parts, so each part is worth 2. One of those parts is what we're interested in, 1/10. What do you notice? What stayed the same and what's changed about all these fractions of the amounts? One thing you may have noticed, again, the whole has stayed the same, but the denominator was telling us how many we're dividing it into. And in each fraction, we're looking for one part. New problem for us now. There are 48 children in a year group. A quarter of them are boys. How many boys are there? Here's our bar with our 48 children. And here are 48 children. We can use place value counters to represent those children. So, we're looking for quarters, so 4 equal parts. Let's divide our 10s first. We can see that each part would have 10 in it. And then our 1s. Let's divide those equally. Brilliant. 4 equal parts. So, a quarter of them are boys. This is the part we're interested in. So, a quarter of 48 would be 12. So there would be 12 boys. 48 divided by 4 is equal to 12. There are 48 children in a year group. A third of them are boys. How many boys are there? Have a go first. Can you work that out? Let's have a go. Again, our bar representing 48 children, but this time a third of them are boys. Here's our 48. We want 3 equal parts. Let's divide our 10s. We've come to a bit of a problem. We've got 10 children, but we can't share it equally between the 3. What might make it easier is if we exchange the 10 for 10 1s. Now can we share them equally? Let's have a look. That's better. I can see in each group there are 16 children. And we're looking for 1/3 of them. And a third of 48 is 16. So 48 divided by 3 is equal to 16. Here's our calculations. We can see that 48 represented the whole. We divided by 3 because we're wanting 3 equal parts. And we wanted one of those parts, which was the part in blue. And the 16 represented how many children were in that one part. What about this one? A quarter of something is 21. Let's visualize this first. A quarter of blank equals 21. We're looking for 1/4, but we don't know what the whole is. But we do know that each quarter has 21. So, in order to calculate the whole, we might do 21 times 4, which is 84. Have a go at this one. A quarter of blank equals 23. Did you get it? The answer you should have got was 92. Similar story to we had before. Tommy gives 3/5 of his sweets to Ron. How many sweets does Ron get? Pause the video. Can you work this one out before we have a look? Let's have a look together. Here are our sweets. Our denominator is 5, so we need 5 equal parts. And 3 of those parts would be in yellow now. So Ron gets 9 sweets. So 3/5 of 15 equals 9. Calculations-wise, we could have worked out the parts by doing 15 divided by 5, which gave us 3 in each part. And then we want to know, well, how many would that be if there are 3 of those parts? So 3 sweets in each part, and we've got 3 of them, which gives us 9. What's the same, what's different about these two? Thinking about our calculations we did for our first story, and the story we just did, what stayed the same, what's changed? Well, the whole has stayed the same, but we noticed that, well, when the numerator was 3, we multiplied the part by 3 to work out the total. So our numerator tells us, once we know one part, how many we have to multiply it by.
Okay, so if you have a look at the sheet, you can answer those questions today. And don't forget that Learning by Questions is also live, so have a look on the blog and on your email for the joining code. Good luck.